This is the Wrestling Replay. I am Cato. Welcome to episode number 28. I hope everyone enjoyed their weekend. We are kicking the week off with some WWE Monday Night Raw. So, to kick off the show, look, there's a lot of things I liked about Monday Night Raw this week, but this week there's some things I really didn't agree with and I thought could have been done better. Since SummerSlam, I feel like they have been doing a great job. I feel like it is more like a TV series where at the end of the episode, it leaves you wanting to watch the next episode. It's not like Monday Night Raw and SmackDown has been before, where you start the show and there's an abrupt ending to the show at the end of the show. It's not really leaving you much to anticipate the next week coming into the show. Now, this show kicked off with Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky coming down to the ring. And Bayley was on the microphone. She had it pretty tough this week. The crowd really gave it to her this week. And it actually took Dakota Kai to grab the microphone and kind of slow the crowd down and calm the crowd a little bit and just slow things down. Which helped. And at time, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, and Bianca Belair made their way down to the ring and pretty much challenged these three women to a match at the Clash of the Castle, which they accepted, and then a brawl broke out, which I don't mind the brawl. But if we're thinking about it on commentary, you hear them talking about how pissed off that Alexa Bliss and Asuka and Bianca has to be in the back listening to this trio and everything he has to say. Now, at that point, what I really would like to see have happened is a pissed off Bianca Belair coming down to the ring, taking off her earrings, kicking off the heels, and as she's making her way to the ring, you see Asuka and Alexa Bliss running behind her, and these six women all jump right into a brawl. Only give Bayley about 10-15 seconds on that microphone before Bianca music hit, and that trio runs down, and now we just got all these women going at it. I feel like that's how they should have opened up Monday Night Raw. Now, later on in the night, we did see a tag team matchup for that WWE Women's Tag Team Tournament. We had Io Sky and Dakota Kai going against Tamina and Dana Brooke. What I would have loved to see in that matchup is Dakota Kai and Io Sky dominating Dana Brooke and Tamina. Not because I don't think less of Tamina or Dana Brooke, but we want to show that this trio and this tag team is a really dominant tag team, a really dominant faction going forward. Now, this could have been a squash match that ended in maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Hell, 1 minute. It could have been over, right? I wouldn't have minded that, because then you could have had Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka pop up on the Titantron, and then you challenge these women to a match at Clash of the Castle, and for it being such a brawl that it was and taking so many people to break it up, hell, make it a falls count anywhere match. Now we're upping the ante just a little bit, and that's one of the gripes I had this week. I think they could have done that segment a lot better. We also seen Seth Rollins. He defeat Angelo Dawkins. Now it's an issue. Well, not an issue, but now we see both of the Street Profits lose their one-on-one matchups. I think this is the point where the Profits got to kind of take a seat back, kind of reel it in a little bit and think, how can we be successful? As a tag team, it's where we notch most of our wins. How can we go back to the drawing board and start to build up some momentum for our tag team? We also seen Kevin Owens. Finally get to see Kevin Owens on Monday Night Raw. Someone who I've been waiting to see. I wanted to see what type of Kevin Owens we was going to get and in what capacity would we see Kevin Owens. He came out there, dominated Elias, pretty much had to stop the match. And Kevin Owens walking out the arena and pretty much put everybody back on notice. This is the Kevin Owens show. Now, if we're getting the fight Kevin Owens, and we're getting that Kevin Owens that popped up and challenged John Cena for that United States Championship during that open challenge, this is the Kevin Owens you could possibly see in title contention. Now, I don't know if it'll be against Roman or if they're going to slow roll it, but hell, this is the type of Kevin Owens we really want to see on Monday Night Raw. We also seen Finn Balor defeat Rey Mysterio. The storyline with the Mysterios, man, Dominic, for one, he just keeps getting dominated by Rhea Ripley. That's a little weird, but I do like the fact that it's Rhea and Dominic. It's the woman that constantly is putting pressure on Dominic one way or the other. Now, at this point, Dominic has an issue with Edge from taking that spear last week. understandable. Rey Mysterio stuck in between from someone he known for 20 years and his son who he's known for 25 years. It's a great story. It's a story that had to be a little bit rushed because of the Cody Rhodes injury, and we needed a babyface. So of course we had to turn Edge back to a babyface in order to just fill that void for the time being. But with Rey Mysterio kind of being caught in the middle of Edge and Dominic, this kind of leaves the opening for Judgment Day to actually recruit Dominic. And one thing I've been thinking about is, if Dominic Mysterio was not known as Dominic Mysterio, if he was just a regular guy and no one really knew who he was, I feel like his skill set inside the ring will be different. I feel like because he's a Mysterio, he feels like he needs to be a high flyer. He feels like he needs to do some of the moves his dad or Eddie is doing, just to kind of remind you of my lineage. Now, if he's separated from Rey Mysterio, what type of wrestler is Dominic going to actually be? So if Dominic does manage to join Judgment Day for whatever reason, I could see Rhea somehow bringing Dominic over to the dark side. Could this actually help Dominic in the long run as far as a wrestler, as far as character development? Will his movesets be different? Because if so, maybe Dominic will be a lot better off without being attached to his father, Rey Mysterio. So it's interesting to see what's going on with Judgment Day and the Mysterios and Edge right now. Now, we also seen Omos in the squash match. We also seen Dolph Ziggler. He defeated Chad Gable. That was a hell of a matchup, actually, between those two. I'm interested to see where they're actually going to go with Dolph Ziggler. With him being back, I mean, that's another babyface you can kind of lean on for some help on Monday Night Raw. But if he's stuck facing guys like Chad Gable, I'm pretty sure that Austin Theory, who was not on Monday Night Raw this week, will come back and will lead to a feud between Austin Theory and Dolph Ziggler. You know, the Alpha Academy has been kind of like the two henchmen for Austin Theory in these past couple of months. So maybe they're kind of just building up towards Dolph Ziggler and Austin Theory, possibly at the Clash of the Castles. That would be a pretty good matchup as well. Austin Theory could definitely use that win over somebody like Dolph Ziggler. Veteran like Dolph, definitely always a good win to have under your belt. Now, to get to my matchup of the night, the match I was looking most forward to, Tommaso Ciampa, Bobby Lashley for that United States Championship. Now, we watched Tommaso Ciampa. They have a whole rollout, drop another video. He talked about how he's inspired by the very first United States champion, Harley Race. He even wears the Harley Race robe down to the ring. And he had multiple opportunities to put away Bobby Lashley in a way where Bobby would not look weak. He wouldn't look like he's kind of, I guess, jobbing out to Champa. It would be an acceptable loss where he wouldn't lose any heat or momentum at all if Champa did get this win. So for Champa to go in here and lose this match, it was a little surprising to me. But I have a theory of why he ended up losing this matchup. But we'll talk a little bit more about that after we talk about the main event. But Bobby and Champa, really good matchup. I hope these guys running back at some point. AJ Styles made his presence felt in that Champa and Bobby Lashley match by attacking the Miz, who of course was helping Champa by putting his foot on the bottom rope. Weird thing is that, AJ comes from the crowd. I don't know why AJ was in the crowd. I would have preferred him to come at least down the ramp, or at least be at ringside once the Miz started to do a few little underhanded, dirty tactics. Maybe just walk down as to say, look, I'm keeping my eye on you. But nonetheless, he chased the Miz out there from ringside, which leads to a main event match between AJ Styles and the Miz in a no DQ matchup. During that matchup, we get to see Tommaso Ciampa. He comes down to ringside to try to help the Miz, but ultimately AJ Styles would manage to defeat the Miz. Ciampa did not do enough in that match. Now, also after the matchup, we did see an appearance from Dexter Lumis. Throughout this whole Monday Night Raw, I talked about how we had cliffhangers, how these guys want you to see the next episode and the next episode, kind of like TV shows do. Now, during this Monday Night Raw, if you weren't paying attention, you missed a lot of stuff. Now, I don't know if the car being on fire was any type of hint or part of a story that we're going to get later. I don't know if the police rushing by when Asuka and Alexa Bliss and Bayley, those women were having that little stare down or whatever was going on. I don't know if that was a hint, but ultimately those policemen came down the ringside, grabbed Dexter Lumis, handcuffs him, and pull him out the ring. Pull him away from ringside. Now, for him to be put in handcuffs, he had to have done something. So I'm assuming that this car that was on fire has something to do with Dexter Lumis, for the fact that he made his way down to the ring after the main event. I don't know if it has something to do with AJ Styles, The Miz, or Tommaso Ciampa. Dexter doesn't really talk. So we really didn't get a feel of what was actually happening. But you have no choice but to tune in, because you're going to want to see what's going on with this whole storyline. Is Dexter Lumis tied in with Tommaso Ciampa? Is he tied in with Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae? Are they coming back? Before they left NXT, Dexter was, kind of hanging out with this crew, with this group. So could that be some hints that we're getting later on down the line? I don't know. But I believe Ciampa lost this match for one reason. With Ciampa losing that match against Bobby Lashley, The Miz losing his matchup with AJ Styles, I think what we're going to get is Ciampa and The Miz blaming each other for their losses, saying that pretty much each of them could not help each other get the win. Miz also lost at SummerSlam to Logan Paul. Tommaso tried to help. AJ did butt his nose in their business again, but yet and still, it's another loss for these guys. So possibly we get the matchup with Tommaso Ciampa with The Miz. The Miz can take loss after loss after loss. As long as you give The Miz a microphone, he'll gain the heat back. It doesn't matter. Miz is someone who always finds a way to get his heat back. So if Tommaso Ciampa and The Miz ends up in a feud, end up in a rivalry, and Tommaso Ciampa comes out on top, we could possibly be seeing the return of that Tommaso Ciampa that we loved in NXT. You know what I'm saying? So if we get that Tommaso Ciampa back, that Tommaso Ciampa can easily carry that United States Championship, bring more prestige to that United States Championship, because they've done a great job in just a mere 2 weeks of making that title feel important again. So Tommaso Ciampa can easily go and win that title and be a man that you can see carrying it with pride. So I like that. Bobby Lashley can easily move on to face someone like Roman Reigns or Karrion Kross or Drew McIntyre, whoever the champion may be at the time. You can see Bobby Lashley in that main event world title picture. So I like what's going on. I like what it could lead to. Or could it possibly be leading to Tommaso Ciampa making a face turn, and then Johnny Gargano coming back, and we start to build that tag team division back up again? I mean, hell, SmackDown and Raw, they kind of show the tag teams outside the Street Profits, Usos, Viking Raiders. New Day is a little injured right now, so I don't know. It could really help that tag team division right now if we do get Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano back. So it's going to be interesting to see what goes on next. But I do think The Miz and Ciampa should end up in the feud. I think Ciampa should go back to being that face, that bad boy face. The one that kind of walks the line. He doesn't care who he fights, but the crowd loves him, because even in this matchup, there was spots where I felt like you wanted Ciampa to win. Even though he's the heel, you was kind of cheering for Ciampa to win a little bit. So if that's the case, man, you might as well turn him back to the babyface, and you might as well let the crowd really get behind him. I think that's what they should do going forward. Now, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, ever since SummerSlam, been doing a great job. Even my little critiques, I feel like they could have happened on Monday Night Raw tonight. It's still minor. It's just little things you could tweak here and there. But at the end of the day, it's still a really good episode. They're still leaving you with those cliffhangers. It's kind of like you're reading a book and you finish the chapter, but the way they leave off that chapter, it really makes you want to keep reading that book. And then you read that next chapter, and it really makes you want to just keep going until you get to the end of that book. Now, you got to think Triple H. Oh, I'm not going to say just Triple H. I'm going to say leadership, because it's Stephanie at play. It's Nick Khan at play. The writers are all at play. Everyone's helping in the back to bring this whole thing to life, right? Even the wrestlers, everyone's bringing it to life, right? Everyone's doing a great job right now. So what these guys are doing is really coming off the back of everything Vince McMahon and his leadership had already had in place. So now these guys are actually slow rolling out what they want Monday Night Raw and SmackDown to look like. And if it's going to look anything like the NXT Black and Gold brand, I think they're going to gain a lot of fans. You're going to start to see guys like Finn Balor with that championship again. You're going to see smaller guys like Tommaso Ciampa possibly holding that world title. Because in NXT, that's what it was about. Great wrestling. Big guy, small guy, doesn't matter. You put on a great match, you got rewarded. And I feel like right now, a lot of these NXT guys that was on the Raw and SmackDown roster are now getting the looks that Triple H wanted them to get when he left NXT and went to those main rosters. So, I mean, we see the return of Dexter Lumis, Tommaso Ciampa's in the championship matchup, Shayna Baszler's in the championship matchup, Shinsuke Nakamura's in the championship matchup. These are the pieces that Triple H had his hands, his imprint on in NXT, and now he gets to finish his work. I guess I could say finish what he was doing and what he started in NXT. He get to finish it on the red and blue brand. So if that's the case, man, I love what's going on. So that was everything that pretty much took place on Monday Night Raw. My thoughts on where storylines should go. My thoughts on the current storylines. I like everything that's going on. Every storyline right now is actually pretty interesting. So I would love to hear from you guys. Drop a comment down below. Hit me in the DM at The Wrestling Replay on Instagram. Drop a comment under the pictures. We talk and chat all the time on there. And if you like what you hear, make sure you go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. But that's everything for this video. I'll see you guys back on Wednesday for AEW Dynamite. I'm Cato. I'm signing out. Peace.